Hey, everybody, and welcome to our second episode of the latest show on Golden Seal Productions' stable of shows, shall we say. And that is Design Sense with my co-host, Bill Elson, who is maybe on camera, maybe off camera. I don't know. Bill, are you there? Where are you, Bill?
I'm right here. Thank you, Raad. Can you see me?
I can totally see you.
Okay, great. Thank you for doing this. This is going to be exciting.
Oh no, man! Thank you too. I mean, I've been wanting to do this show for a number of years, and I really am glad that I didn't end up doing it and hosting it on my own, because we had our first show yesterday, and it's going to be on the air soon with Kirk Nix, designer extraordinaire, who I have to personally have known for about 25 years and is a friend. And you're the one who recommended that we have him on.
Yes.
I thought was a small world.
I heard him speak at the Laguna Design Center, and I thought it was very interesting. I was going to have him at our ASID Expo, but anyway, so then when we decided to do this, I wanted someone of his caliber to be the very first guest. It was very exciting, very animated, talking a lot about all the beautiful hotels he does and all the people he's worked with.
Yeah, so for those who are listening to this, look out for that one. That will be the first episode of Design Sense. We are looking to do this very frequently. We already have 3 or 4 lined up. And with that being said, I am really, we're both actually, I think, very happy to have this gentleman on next with us, who we consider a friend and a absolutely valuable resource for us as designers. So with that being said, Bill, who do we have for people if they don't see the logo?
We have Mike Cassidy. He is the general manager of California Closets, and he's really an interesting guy. He has a fun story to tell about how he got involved in this business and everything else. And you know, California Closets has their factory in Huntington Beach, and they have incredible designers that come out to you and put together not only a closet, a pantry, a garage, a home office, everything you need with all kinds of options. They even have a steamer that you can steam your clothes. You put your clothes in and you put your clothes in the steamer, close the steamer. I think in an hour or two, you open it up and they're all steamed.
Yeah, I want one of those in mine. So Mike, you know, how did Bill do?
Bill did absolutely great.
He covered everything.
He did. He knows us really well. I'm impressed.
Mike, welcome to the show. Thank you for taking the time to be with us.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm glad to be here.
I wanted to start off with people who don't know you and haven't had the fortune to have met you yet. Give a little background about yourself. I know you've been with the company for a long time and in different roles and capacities locally. Give people a little bit of background, and then you and I have had conversations in the past about some of the things that you guys offer, both in the performance of the service and sort of in the support capacity to professionals in the design industry or the clients that people may not be aware of, that you guys do. So I really want to kind of take time today to delve into some of that stuff, and then want to find out what you guys have been doing with this coronavirus and how have you pivoted. So Mike is yours, my friend.
Fantastic.
Take it away, Mike.
All right, thank you so much. So let me tell you a little bit about my background. I'm the general manager here at California Closets. I'm responsible for everything we do, from sales through engineering, manufacturing and installation for a big part of Southern California. And we are a custom installed storage company. Like Bill said before, we can do custom installed storage in literally any part of the home. And everything that we do is custom made to fit the needs of the customer that we're working with, the taste profile, the storage needs, the budget, and so on. We can make something very, very basic and still completely functional, all the way up to something super luxurious with lighting and upgraded doors and upgraded hardware, and even all the way up to a clothing steamer that cleans your clothes every night.
Well, and how long, and the showroom, Bill, I think mentioned, you've got a couple of showrooms, but your main manufacturing facility, I think, for Orange County is in Huntington Beach, right?
Yeah, we service all of our area right out of Huntington Beach. This is where our kitting and manufacturing facility is. Our installers deploy out of Huntington Beach all the way out to Long Beach, out to Pasadena, all over Orange County, the Inland Empire, and even out to Palm Springs, Palm Desert.
And you have part of LA too, right? Don't you?
In part of LA, southern Los Angeles.
So it's a big territory.
Okay.
How long have you been with the company?
I've been with California Closets about 4 years. I've been with the company that owns California Closets and some of the other brands and in some various roles all the way back since my school days in the mid 80s.
Wow, that's a very impressive career. So you must like it.
I like it. I found somewhere that I like to come every day, and they still keep letting me come here every day. So it's working from both sides.
Well, that's great.
So with that being said, I just want to add that you do have also the convenience of a showroom on PCH in Corona Del Mar. I believe there's also one in Pasadena, right, Mike? And then one in Palm Springs probably as well.
Palm Desert, yeah.
Palm Desert, sorry. Yeah. So you have the ability, and your showrooms are fantastic. Like as far as not just as an aesthetic for people to walk in and see what can be done, but you also are very well stocked with options usually, and it's very organized. I was very impressed by the way that there's a consistency between the showrooms. I think people sort of expectations are met regardless where you basically are your first point of contact with California Closet.
And you have all those, when you tour the showroom, you have those glass drawers that slide out and you can see all the handles, all the hardware, all the pulls. Then you have that wonderful way to display the different wood finishes they pull out. They're almost, I don't know how big, it's like a full, almost a mini wall. And then now you have that fabulous trailer where it's the closet in a trailer. So tell us about that. I love that trailer.
Exactly. I guess really that's our 5th showroom. We call it the mobile showroom, and it's everything that a showroom has, but on a greatly reduced scale. We can literally pull it behind a truck, and we've taken it to all kinds of really interesting events. Most recently, Modernism Week in Palm Springs back in February.
Yeah, which is a big event. Yeah, it's wonderful. I mean, I think didn't we have it at the expo last year, Phil? I think you guys were at the expo, right, Mike? Yeah.
Yeah.
The expo was a big hit.
It was. We loved being there.
So tell me a little bit about the history of California Closet. I'm very familiar with the name. I've known about it for a very long time, but I don't know what the story behind it is. Is there a story behind it? Is it local? Can you share anything on that?
It is local. It started here in Southern California 42 years ago as a small business that a young man started in his college dorm room. He had an idea that storage needed to be organized and that people would probably like it if a company could come in and build them a nice closet. And of course, the design was rudimentary and simple. They only offered white finish. They didn't have CAD or any of the upgrades that we have now. It's evolved incredibly. But from that one location, it's evolved to a brand that's prevalent across America, across Canada, Mexico, and the Caribbean. We've got 69 independent locations.
Wow, that is something.
Yeah.
And what is the color that you sell the most of, Mike?
Classic white. Classic white, where it all started.
Where it all started.
It is still our most popular color.
I knew the answer already, but I found it when you said that first part about how it started and the only color was white. I found that kind of like, perfect harmony. That's still a popular color.
It is. It's almost 40% of our sales.
Maybe you could tell us, because I know you have just a huge variety of finishes and colors and everything. Now, do you have a design team that comes up with that? Is there a national?
Yeah. How do you guys decide which way to go? I mean, strategically, I'm obviously with that many showrooms, that many locations, this is a major logistical exercise.
Oh yeah. I think it's a major exercise in listening. The product development team is based in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And their role is to listen to really what they're hearing from across the network for internal guidance, what they're seeing across North America in design and color trends for external guidance locally, and also in Europe and Southeast Asia. They literally go all around the world to see what's relevant, what's coming, and then decide what they're going to integrate into our palette. We're constantly updating our finishes, our options. The product palette it's literally changing every single month.
Well, and it is very much worthwhile to visit a California Closet showroom because even as a professional, you guys are always on top of your game. I mean, like everything from lighting options to locking mechanisms, and the fact that you service a wide array of end users. Like it's not just residential. You guys do commercial stuff. There's applications for your product in all kinds of ways, and sometimes it's almost difficult to stay, caught up with you guys and what you guys are putting in your showrooms. From everything from liners to drawers to, the edge lighting on shelving systems, backlighting of glass shelves. I mean, it's pretty impressive.
Sometimes I have a hard time keeping up. It's there's a lot, and our showrooms. And thank you for what you said about them. Our showrooms tell two stories. The first story is the story of inspiration, when someone can just walk in off the street. Well, they can't right now, but soon the rules will change and we'll open our showrooms again. So they can just walk in off the street, look around, speak to our people, get inspired. We want to be welcoming and hospitable. We're not salesy, so someone can come in and enjoy their time in the showroom, take away an inspiration or two, and because maybe they're not ready for a closet this year or even next, but we want to have a great a relationship with them from the first time they join us. So once they've gotten their inspirations, looked around, and they're in a process with us, which might not be right now. Maybe they come in, they're inspired, and they go away and they get ready for the closet. They come back and they say, I want my closet now. The second story that showroom tells is the design studio. Each of our showrooms has a dedicated design studio with all of the facilitation pieces that Bill was talking about a few minutes ago. The sample boards, the hardware samples, the lighting samples, the upgraded door and drawer face samples, where a customer can work with one of our designers and absolutely customize their closet or their space to be whatever they want it to be, and they can collaborate with us so that when it's done, they'll be able to say, yeah, I influenced my own design because I really like those door faces over there, and the designer made them work into my design, and now it feels very, very personal.
Well, that customization is super important. I mean, you guys, like you said, the most popular color is white that you guys are still selling. And was that 40-some% that you said?
Yes.
Right.
And I think it's important that you have the factory right there in Huntington Beach. And I was fortunate enough to have a tour with you, and I was very, very impressed because to me as a consumer, I like to know if something goes wrong with it, you can fix it. You don't send me the same thing over and over again. And the fact that everything's made is everything, but you have a bigger factory in Arizona, is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, we have a big factory in Arizona that services locations all across the Western United States. And we've got a facility here where we assemble all the parts, because some of the things that go into one of our closets come from under our own roof. There's some parts we make, some come from Phoenix, and some come from some specialty vendors. For instance, we've got 2 vendors that provide some amazing glass and metal door and drawer faces. They're experts in that type of work. And so they'll custom make the doors and drawers and they'll send them to us. So we've got quality control and kitting facility right here under our own roof where we get everything ready. We've also got our own wood shop. So let's say that we're making a closet, and let's say that someone chips a door face, or there's a scratch, or something's a 1/4 inch too small. Instead of having to wait for that part to come from Phoenix several days later, we can make it in our own wood shop and have a remake literally available that same day that something might have gone slightly wrong during installation.
Yeah, you can tell a lot about the operation of a business or the quality that controlled and the importance of control if you look behind the quote unquote front of house or showroom. And yeah, I was fortunate enough to be on that tour as well with Bill, and yeah, I was very impressed too, Mike. I mean, I still remember the fact that even though the stuff may come from Arizona, it's all packaged, it's all kitted, it's all numbered. It's it's the way that you guys receive it and inventory it, so that you don't find out when you're on site trying to install that you may have something missing or not. That it's throughout the process that you guys take this very committed approach to customer service all the way through. So yeah, absolutely. Anybody who has the opportunity to do that should look behind your front door. If you, and I know it was like there's certain areas, no, there's safety and liability and all this stuff, but just looking at that back area, you could tell that a lot of effort went into making it that way.
Yeah, it's very, very organized. And you said that all the installers have everything in their van. So if they go out to a job to install and they need a special screw or a special hook or a fastener, they have everything in the van. They don't have to make the client wait another 2 or 3 days for it to be finished.
Well, exactly. They've got all of our installers go out in our fleet with our tools. We've got a prescribed way that all the vans are set up so that every installer has every tool they're going to need on a given day. And they've got the screws and the fasteners, and they've got tons of experience. They're our own employees. They work only for us.
Right.
And we've got some great guys out there in the field.
So the timeline from the time, let's just say, from the time the client signs the contract, what is it approximately till they get installed?
It depends on the closet, of course. I can give you the range, and it's 3 to 6 weeks. The simpler the closet, isn't it? A simple closet can go in 3 weeks.
So people, you could have ordered from California Closet when the coronavirus shutdown started. Mm-hmm. You'd be looking at an installation at worst like next week.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just saying, you might have missed an opportunity, but you know what? Mike's will still take your calls and we'll take your orders.
We're still open for business.
They're still open for business.
And then now your installers. So a lot of these new homes have those prefab closets already, with the shelving. They're just nothing really. Your guys will deinstall and install yours as part of the package.
Deinstallation, uninstallation, removal, whatever you want to call it, is part of our service.
Okay, great.
So if someone wants us to come in and put in a storage system, we don't want them to have to worry about calling other trades. We'll take the old closet out. If we need to patch some holes in a wall because the old closet left holes, we'll do that. And then we'll put in the custom storage system of their dreams.
So tell me one story that sticks out for you where that basically was a very challenging situation and you guys handled it. I'm sure you have plenty.
Yes. Sure. Yes. The situations that I most enjoy are the ones where I have to deal directly with a customer. We've got a team of, before COVID-19, we had a team of 45 installers, 39 designers, and about 39 to 40 people in the back end of the business doing various things. So if something gets to a point where I'm working with a customer, it means something really went wrong along the way. Either a vendor did something, a supplier missed expectation, maybe we did something wrong. And the things that I love the best is when I can get into a place with a customer and say, hey, we're going to fix it. We're going to make it right. We want you to be delighted. We're having a point right now where you're not enjoying us very much, but we're going to get past that and we're going to make it right every single time. And one of the most irate customers that I ever dealt with, and it was a combination of this individual really having some crazy high standards and us making, frankly, a couple of mistakes that we shouldn't have made. And the first time he talked to me, he was really skeptical and said, maybe you should take it out. And I said, I want a chance to make it right. So we worked on this and we worked on that. We made it right. And then the day that it was finished, the day after that, he had his wife bring me 2 bottles of wine from his vineyard. And he said, I'd really like to host you on a wine tour if you're ever up in Santa Barbara and you'd like to check out my private vineyard.
Wow.
I thought that's a nice turnaround. That was really rewarding because 2 weeks before he was not having it.
Mike, it's funny because we are in a society where value has different meanings for different people, right? And people are basically driven by just how much can I get this for the least amount of money? And they're
Mhm.
not really looking at everything. And Bill kind of made reference to some of this sort of like prefab that's existing.
Mhm.
Some of it is good, some of it is not. And just because, the old words of like, well, something has dovetail corners. And
Yeah.
well, dovetail corners mean nothing. I mean, you can get prefab with dovetail corners and it'll fall back
Yeah.
apart on you in 3 weeks or 2 months or whatever.
Exactly.
The premise behind this show, and there's a lot of shows that are aesthetically driven. There's a lot of shows that are on design product basis and all this stuff. I really wanted to try to basically include that, but also focus the show on the primary premise, which is if it doesn't make sense,
Hmm.
you shouldn't be spending dollars and cents on it.
Exactly.
And
See
so
the dollar sign?
that's the dollar sign in the logo. Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. He's a sharp guy. And people give him bottles of wine. He doesn't share them, but people
Yeah,
give
and
him
I know
bottles.
that we worked on that Philharmonic house together. I mean, you had the master bedroom closet. I was doing the bedroom down the hall. But your guys came in, they were so professional.
Yeah.
There was a lot of issues with that house, like there is with any design house. And that finished product, that closet was absolutely beautiful. It was
Well,
really beautiful.
The reason I even brought that up, Mike, was just again to acknowledge, because people will say, well, California Closet is on the higher end on the price point, maybe, or mid to high. And I will say that the value is in everything, including all that you just described. I mean, for that gentleman to basically go from just take it out, right?
Yeah.
To I want to host you on my vineyard in Santa Barbara. That just doesn't happen because by accident. You have a commitment to stand behind your word, and the value is definitely there, and the product itself is there. And you guys are always kind of trying to, I think, innovate. So which is really, for me, it resonates with me because I'm looking at you guys for inspiration. I mean, you remember you showed me that you guys were putting out your own publication and the way that the articles were constructed. You guys are always trying to innovate and continue to be of value for us professionally as well as the end users. And so to that, it makes perfect sense to me that people would reach out to you. And if people are not seeing it, there's the website right there, californiaclosets.com.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you have ability to do like a PowerPoint or a 3D model?
Mhm.
Show the client?
Yeah, let's talk about that, Mike, too, because a lot of people, and I think maybe it's just a misnomer from the industry. Like people, it's a closet. I mean, I was kind of grinning under my breath when you started describing what business you guys are in. The word closet was not anywhere in the description of what you said.
Yes.
Would you mind saying that again, Bill? I don't know if you picked this up, but I want people that are listening to the show, because I love the fact that you didn't say you were in the closet business. What business were you in, Mike?
We're custom installed storage.
Custom installed storage.
Installed storage. Yeah.
That's wonderful. I mean, okay, so let's talk, because people may think they know what closet business is.
Yes.
But what does custom installed storage a la California Closet look like? What are some of the services you guys provide, both for the designers and in terms of assist maybe, and Bill kind of alluded a little bit to that 3D modeling. What are some of those things that people may not know about?
Oh, absolutely. So I'll start with the 3D modeling. So once we've had an interaction, either directly with the consumer who wants a closet for their home or their business, or if we're working through a trade partner. So say we're working with a designer who's representing a consumer as they design their home, or a general contractor, as the case may be.
Mhm.
Once we understand what it is that has to be built, we'll create a 3D model so that they can live with the finishes and the hardware accurately represented, so that they can see it from all the angles in their space and just see if it fits, if it looks right to them. And then the model is nimble. So as they're working with the designer and they say, okay, the doors, I like the design, but the door's the wrong color. Can we try a different finish color on the doors? And they can work through iteration after iteration and collaboration until it's exactly what they want.
And I'm assuming this is proprietary software that you guys spend a lot of time developing, right?
It is. It is only ours. It's not like an industry suite that we've customized a bit. Right. It's only for California Closets.
And not only is it a powerful sales tool, but I think, to your point, I think a lot of people sometimes have a difficulty imagining something, especially if it's something that is not what they are accustomed to. And
Exactly.
so that helps basically everybody, including you guys, not having to basically deal with the expectations not being met later. This helps basically bridge that, which is very valuable and it's probably time saving too, right?
Oh, it is for sure. Because the thing, we all work in the design space, so we forget, I know I forget, that people that don't do what we do often can't visualize.
Right.
We can describe what a certain thing's going to look like, and we've got a mental picture almost instantly. If this isn't their wiring and if this isn't the field they work in, they have no idea. Once we can show them a 3D rendering based on all of the discussions
Mm-hmm.
around what the space needed to look like and what it needed to accomplish, and then the designer goes away and does the work and says, based on all of our interactions, here's what your closet's going to look like. And they're often just in awe because it exactly represents what they wanted, but even better than they even knew it was going to be able to be. They'll look at it and they'll say, this is exactly what I wanted, but I didn't know that this is exactly what I wanted. And it can be a fairly inspiring moment for them.
Well,
Yeah,
I think
oftentimes clients have an idea of what they need, but
Yeah.
until they meet a professional like your designers who write everything down, interview them, ask them
Yes.
questions, how many, like with the husbands, how many shirts, how many pants, how many shoes, the same with the wife, and jewelry and handbags and belts, all these things.
Mhm.
And then they start putting it together for your client. You're absolutely right. Then the client finally says, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I want.
Exactly.
Be
so
interested. Yeah.
well,
They
it's
don't even know how many pieces of clothing they actually have and how big a closet they need. So it is, I find it fascinating because,
people to your point, Bill, and I think people have an idea what they want, but I think, and it's not just you guys are providing that same similar service in terms of taking care of the customer, basically taking care of giving people more than somebody walks in and says, this is what I need, or this is what I need. Okay, great, here it is. But there's a moment right there where you can actually encourage people to look at what they could have.
yeah,
And sometimes, to your point, Mike, we take it for granted that certain things are one way or the other, capabilities, options, opportunities, or one way or the other. But most people that are not doing this all the time may have, at the very least, a hard time visualizing it.
totally.
They may not know what is right there on the other flip side of the paper, but at the
Yes.
same cost that they were looking at,
Mhm.
that they could still have in order to customize their closet. I mean, or their mobile storage.
Custom installed storage.
Custom installed storage. Well, it's mobile when you put it in your trailer. So okay.
Exactly. Then it's mobile custom installed storage.
It's mobile custom storage. Say that 10 times after each other. The other thing that I found very fascinating, Mike, when you shared it with me, which appealed to me,
Mhm.
is in a lot of cases this may be a remodel retrofit, but you guys handle a lot of business with new construction.
We do.
And how much of your business would you say is new construction versus maybe remodels or retrofits?
Probably 20% new construction.
Which is a substantial amount. I mean,
Yeah.
you're in a very high construction zone, so 20% is a lot of volume. Also, I think there, if I'm not remembering wrong, I think a lot of people basically will quote to you because this is an opportunity for them on their, let's say, spec build or single family home but smaller tracks or multi-unit. It's a way for them to actually differentiate their product, to upgrade their look, to provide maybe alternatives if it's a condo, whatever, right? You guys do work on all of those levels, I believe, right?
Yeah, we do. Our new construction business falls roughly in three streams. One stream is when we're working with either with a developer, homeowner who's building a custom home. And there's also a stream with the bigger builders, the named builders, Shea, New Home Company, and so on, where they're doing development where custom upgraded closets is an option that people can choose during the buying process. And then the third stream is multifamily, condominiums and so on.
So
We do them all.
So are your products in those cases, like for Shea, for example, or Lennar, are those products in their design centers? Do you guys have a foothold or presence within their sales process for people, or do they need to go outside of that to you guys, let's say at the showroom in Huntington?
So we'll be in their models.
Okay.
So if they're doing a development that includes closets, we'll make sure that we're in at very least the master in every home in the model. And then when someone is working through the customization process on their home, they'll be introduced to us at a certain juncture in the process, and we'll go ahead and design the whole closet so that their design team doesn't have to worry about the details. We'll take care of it all.
Right. They're not being dealt with somebody that's not doing the closets all the time. They're dealing with a professional that has a specialization in that direction.
And it's custom. Yeah. So it's not a palette of limited options in a catalog.
Yeah.
We tried that once or twice. We couldn't make it work. We really thrive when we can have a completely custom closet based entirely on the needs of the client.
Well, I think
because it's installed, does it become part of the loan package so the client finances it? And
absolutely, they can roll it right into their loan.
They can finance $100,000 closet, and it costs them an extra $100 a month on their mortgage payment.
Yeah, exactly, and they can enjoy it right away.
It's painless. It's a lot less.
Painless.
It's an easier decision to make. You've already decided to buy the home, so this is just a thinner layer to the bigger buy that you did. And the reason why I took us down this path, Mike, is because one of the things, and again, I may have this wrong, but one of the things you told me that in the process of this, and this maybe relates more, this might be handled by a designer sometimes, but even then, I don't think we know the nuances enough. Because again, we're not dealing with that specific area of focus all the time. But I think if I'm not mistaken, you said that, let's say that there's electrical, let's say that there are utilities, let's say there's other things within that space where the closet or the wet bar or what have you, the pantry, the home office, especially in the case of a home office, there may be certain special requirements that are unique to that property, that customer, and that you guys actually incorporate that into your design process so that it's not where I'm cutting it out later and it's like, whatever, here's a big panel, and then you just basically butcher it to basically get the electrical out. Is that correct? Am I remembering correctly?
That's exactly right. And that's one of the things where customization makes all the difference, because our closet's going into a space almost the very last thing that's done.
Right.
So if somewhere along the way an alarm panel was introduced, or somewhere along the way an outlet somehow ended up in a different location,
electrical locations went this way versus that. Yeah.
Exactly. We can revise the closet so that our cutouts, it's not just a cutout in part of our system. It'll be properly cut out, properly edge banded, so it looks completely intentional. And we can work around all these things that happen during the course of a build.
So there, again, the reason I'm bringing this up, because I found that to be very useful, and I encourage anybody who is in the position of basically servicing a client or even a client themselves, and an end user, if you will, to actually pull on that, because that's when a lot of times things don't go right. I mean, I've had situations where you're building a beautiful mantle and side cabinets and a media center, and you have a gas line, for the starter, and it wasn't accounted for correctly. And then next thing you know, here's this beautiful box that the client sees being installed. And then they turn around and come back an hour later, and somebody had just taken a skill saw and just basically butchered a big piece out of there. And even though it's going to get covered, it's like somebody just slashed at something that you paid good money for. And so, and a lot of times it comes down to that coordination, and we're all human. We miss things. So the more eyes you have on something, and most cabinet builders, more kitchen cabinets, unless it's a very high end product, they don't really take it to that level. So I found that to be very, very interesting, and very grateful to know that about what you guys do.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing I think we kind of maybe want to talk about is, you are, like everybody else, currently dealing with the realities that we're all living through, the coronavirus, the shutdown, the people's psychology, safety at home. And I always say that, everything can either be seen as a challenge or as an opportunity.
Yes.
It really
I
comes
agree.
down to your mindset, right? If you have a growth mindset, if you have a bunker mentality, it's understandable that you would have a defensive reaction to this when it comes out of nowhere. But then when do you pivot? So share with us and the people who are listening, how has that been for you? I mean, what is it like? We're 7 weeks now into this thing. What happened in terms of your business, the way you were processing your orders? What happened to your labor force? What has this meant for you? And then I want to end with, like, what opportunities, what are you seeing right now that may be different from when we first went into this?
Oh, for sure. So just like everyone else, this has had a profound effect on all of our lives. It's had a profound effect on California Closets. And in our state, because of the way that our shelter at home, stay home order was designed, we're part of the construction trade. Construction was allowed to continue. So our installations haven't stopped. Our showrooms are part of the retail space. And as such, we had to close our showrooms. So we're still running, we're still doing consultations, but our showrooms for the moment are closed. What we decided to do as soon as this happened is to talk to every customer, particularly the ones that signed up before all this happened, about our installation. We explained our process, what we'd be doing to take care of the safety of our workers as well as them, what we'd be doing to protect their space and to leave them a clean and sanitized closet system to make sure that everyone was comfortable. In the early days especially, some people said, I'm just not ready. Can you wait until things calm down, until this is less of an issue? And we said, of course, we never once pressured anyone to let us come unless they were ready for us. Most people, they were anxious to get their custom installed storage system, so they didn't want to wait, especially once they heard that we had some good protocols in place to keep everybody safe. So we followed those protocols. They continue to evolve. The conventional wisdom today is a little different than it was 2 weeks ago, and I'm sure things will be different 2 weeks from now. So we're students of all this. We keep trying to learn into it and to make sure that we're doing the right thing. And we start with our practice, our protocol, and then we talk to the customer. If they need something different, we'll go meet them where they are. As long as everyone's safe, we'll do whatever they need to for them to feel safe and comfortable and for them to be willing to have us in their home. Our customer satisfaction scores are typically very high because we care about customers. We've got a very well-trained team. Our customer satisfaction scores in April were the highest we've ever seen.
Wow.
Yeah, I think
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I think, and because of some of the comments we got back, a big part of that was people appreciated how hard we tried to keep them safe, to keep our workers safe. Workers wearing PPE, socially distancing, sanitizing the workspaces. The customers valued it, and they said, this is good. We appreciate how you guys do this.
Well, Mike, you know what? I appreciate you very much sharing that, because there's a lot of, understandably, a lot of confusion, a lot of, lack of clarity. How do we proceed? People are coming at this thing from a point of frustration, fear, worry, totally humanly understandable. But I think the one thing that I really appreciate you through what you just said was that you really were empathetic with the customer and their sense of what safety meant to them.
Yes.
And you gave them options. You didn't browbeat them in the fact that, listen, we have to get this thing out of our storage. We got to install it by the end of the month. It's taking up space or whatever else, it wasn't about your convenience. It was about their sense of safety and comfort. And you know what? Well rewarded and well deserved that you should get the highest, and you guys have amazing customer service numbers. For that to be last month, I think that is a badge of honor, my friend, because in difficulty, you guys didn't forget the number one rule of customer service.
Well, this is a service-based industry when you come down to it.
A lot of people forget that.
There are other companies
sometimes
not as high-end as yours that provide all the options and all the service you provide. But that's one of the big things we talked about the other day with our first guest, was that this is a custom service industry.
Yeah. But I'll tell you something, an example, for example, right? That I found kind of tone deaf a little bit, maybe inappropriate, right?
Yes.
There were people that were basically still trying to pitch people on things the same way they were pitching them before.
I've noticed that.
Have you noticed that?
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah, and it's almost. I mean, I don't want to say it's disrespectful because I understand where it's coming from. It's coming out of maybe a necessity. I don't know what else to think, how else to think. Maybe if I wasn't so stressed, I would think clearer. I'm going to give them all the benefit of the doubt, right? But at the end of the result, the look of that, the read of that, the impact of that is that you are tone deaf. And I'm being nice, and rather than, harsher words I could use. But I've noticed that, and the sad aspect of that to me is not only are you missing an opportunity. I'm not trying to be manipulative, but missing an opportunity to connect at a different level, right?
Mm-hmm. But you have to be mindful of the psychological temperature of the nation right now. I don't think, as much as I love the United States and I'm a red-blooded American, I don't think we're in like a celebratory mood. Let's celebrate. Just keep everything calm and everything nice and help people and make sure everyone's safe. I just don't think we're in, happy.
Yeah, no. Well, but that's been kind of also, like you can look at the negatives that came out of this. I know we're going off tangent here for a minute, but like you can look at this experience because we're all feeling it, we're all experiencing it. I mean, it's not even limited to a region. This is a global phenomenon that everybody has a reference point that is common with everybody else on the planet. That's old enough to remember, whether you're my nephew that's basically going from middle school to high school, or my nephew who's graduating high school and doesn't have a commencement going on. I mean, these people will remember, or my older parents that basically been pretty much on their own. Myself, everybody has this. I think what's interesting is you've seen the nobler side of humanity and maybe the confused and misguided side of humanity. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to customer service, there is one thing that is always true. Customer is always right. And if the customer's sense of safety is not yours, then it's the customer's sense of safety that's important. What I find
customer sets the what's the phrase? I lost it. Customer sets the tone of the
if you're smart about your conduct of your business and genuine. I mean, you're genuinely caring about the outcome of what you're putting into customers' home or how you're touching their lives. The thing that's nice, Mike, to see this too is it probably was not a stretch for you guys. Like you guys were already operate from that mindset. I think you just became acutely more aware that currently they may have some things that are pressing that may require a little bit more additional sensitivity in your approach, is what I'm hearing.
Our values were absolutely aligned with this time. And our values have served us very, very well. Our operating practices had to change very quickly. And I think we're a curious bunch and we're open-minded. And so as soon as we saw how reticent people were to be around other people, especially back 4-6 weeks ago, we invented our virtual consultation. And we built some good processes around it so that we could still have a good consultation with a client without having to go to their home. Right. And it was properly supported with technology, with visual aids, with measuring aids, with ways to make sure the measurements were right because the customer's taking them for the first time ever, which was scary.
Right. It is scary.
It is scary. But with some good coaching, we could tell the ones that were able to follow the instructions and do reasonable measurements, and some just couldn't. And so then we'd quietly step in and say, hey, we're going to send an installer over and just verify your measurements just to be safe. So even when they got it wrong, we didn't want them to feel they get it wrong. Most of the time they get it right. We've installed several of our jobs that we sold through virtual consultations. They've gone really well. But
you ended up basically, it's kind of an interesting thing. You actually made the customer part of the process.
Even more than they ever were, and they love it.
Yeah, they literally were given, a set of
crayons and
a drawing pad and said, okay, you are now part of the.
Yeah.
Then they realize it's not so easy to do to measure a space. All the things that go involved in it.
Yeah.
That's very true too, Bill. I mean, that exactly. That also then served the purpose of saying, there's value in why I am basically
Yeah.
dealing with these people and why they basically charge what they do, and they have the crew that is educated. That wasn't just. It gives them a sense of value. I think that's really brilliant, actually, Mike. So, how much of this do you think you guys will abandon once things go? I don't think things are ever going to go to the old normal. I think the old
They're
normal
not.
is gone, right?
They're not. Normal's going to keep evolving every 2 weeks for a long, long time. And I don't know what new normal is going to look like, but there's some things that we picked up that we're going to keep. The virtual consultation, for a moment there, the virtual consultation was the only way we did consultations. And we've already moved past that. In the past couple of weeks, 3 weeks, we found customers leading us. We'd say, hey, we do virtual consultations through Zoom meetings or FaceTime. And back in early April, they were so relieved. By mid-April, we were getting more and more people saying, that sounds really nice, but if we wear a mask and keep our distance, can you come to our home?
Yeah.
And so we pivoted and we went to our designers and said, who's comfortable going in home? If you're not comfortable, we're okay. If you're comfortable, let's build a list. So now when we talk to a client, we say, there's two ways you can have your consultation. We can come to your home or we can do a virtual consultation. And then we match them with the designer. If the designer wants to go in home, if they've said, yeah, I'm ready, I'm healthy, let me do it, we'll send the designer out. And the designers that aren't ready to go in home, they do the virtual consultations. And so that that point of decision where the customer chooses what the consultation looks like, I think we'll keep that for a long time. It's a really good way to treat a customer, and it's working well for us.
Yeah, I think it's very smart. I mean, even if you involve them in from the very early stages, almost in sort of, here's the pieces, put them together, like try to assemble like your own little thing, and as a starting point, right?
Yeah.
Get in their head a little bit, and then. So let me ask you something that is relevant to the staffing.
Yes.
Because part of the guidelines, I'm not sure if it applies to you guys as far as quote unquote construction manufacturing, but
Yes.
It is something that is part of the food and beverage side of things.
Mm-hmm.
You have designers, you have people that are part of the company structure that are in contact, within proximity with clients, and yes, within the social distancing guidelines of 6 feet, with the mask wearing and all that appropriate protective gear. Have you had to institute any additional safety measures internally to make sure that the health of people that are coming in? I mean, have you had to basically go there, because that's kind of a little touchy area, I think. It starts getting into sort of personal information, but we do background checks on people, but we don't do health background checks on people.
Yeah.
So what have you had to do, if anything at all, Mike?
Well, here's what we've had to do. We've had to train our team extensively that if they've been exposed, if they've even been exposed to someone who came from one of the real hot spots, if they have a temperature, if they feel sick, they just can't come to work. And then for our installers and our supervisors, temperatures are taken every morning. I go out when the installers are having their temperature taken, and I make sure mine's taken every morning too, just because I don't want to ask them to do something I wouldn't do myself. So I do it every single morning. And then we've got a protocol with footwear, with gloves, with masks, and with frequent, of course, distancing and frequent sanitizations, both of their hands as well as the work area that they work.
What's one of the difficulties that you have faced? Like, I mean, I'm just thinking, well, you're saying that you got two men in that are both basically going out for an install. Is it now that one of them has to sit in the back of the truck and the other one in the front because you don't have a 6 foot? I mean, just from a practicality, like some of these things that I don't know that we have even gotten our head into that space yet, but there's things that we're going to deal with. Have you encountered anything like that? That's
the hardest thing in this moment, I think, is past actually, but the hardest thing was for our installers, who are all healthy, young and middle-aged men, for them to realize that they had to wear masks and gloves, because these are healthy guys. They think they're invincible, right? And for us to get them to the place where they realize, okay, this is for themselves, for their families, and for their customers, it's not just theater, it's health, and it's essential to get them to the place where they understood and accepted that, and the culture of our team accepted all the measures and took them seriously. That was the hardest part. But they embrace it now. They talk about it. If someone forgets to wear a mask, when we're all meeting in the morning, getting their trucks loaded up, one of their peers calls them out right away, says, "Hey, mask," and they've got their mask on in a second. So they're holding each other accountable, taking it seriously, and they know it's important.
And then what if in the showroom, excuse me, do the designers and the clients, do they both have to wear masks and gloves when they
Yes.
come in at this point? At
Yeah.
this point right now, but like you said, in 2 weeks it could change.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and right now our showrooms are closed. So the only time we have a customer in is if it's a special appointment in a closed showroom. But we wear masks. We sanitize before the meeting. We sanitize after the meeting. And we also ask them to wear masks.
Well, I think wearing masks may not continue to be a requirement, but I think we are here. Masks are here to stay. I think at least for like flu season, winter season, it's going to become just like a part. Like people carry a handkerchief in their pocket. I think those are going to stay. And we're not the first country to basically adapt this. We used to laugh at the Japanese for wearing masks in Tokyo, right? I mean, oh, what are these people doing? Yeah, but Mike,
that's because the air quality was so bad.
Well, have you looked at, right now? Los Angeles is fine, but before 6 weeks ago, we still had air quality problems. Mike, I want to just stay on this, if you don't mind, for a minute, because I think it is important given what's happening right now and challenges for businesses. Because what you just described and what you just went through is probably going to be a common occurrence, if it's not already, as far as resistance to something like this.
Yes.
Where people are feeling like, why do I need to do this? And pushing. And so from a business management side, can you share anything that you found as a good approach to approach this with your team to get that consensus and buy-in that others may find valuable?
Yeah, for me, it was repetition, right? Every single day, our installers meet in, we call it the yard. That's where the vans are staged. They get their the things that they need to go out that day, and all the installers are working together in the building and in their trucks for the first part of the day, and that's our touch point where we can really influence them. And using that time to repeat the message, to make sure they had their equipment, to make sure that they were wearing it. They always saw me wearing it. They saw the other supervisors wearing it. And we kept staying on the message of safety. And it's like a lot of things. You have to say it 15, 20, 25 times for people to believe it. Once they saw that we believed it and that it wasn't going away, and then once they saw that their customers were rewarding them with good feedback for taking these measures, they really internalized, because for someone that's going to be representing us out there in the world and we're not around them, the only way this all works is if they believe these actions are important.
Right.
If they think it's theater, they'll take the mask off if they're uncomfortable.
Well, then having you wear the mask and everything else, I think really helps a lot because you lead by example.
Yeah, and it was all I was talking about for several weeks, and making sure they were equipped. Guys, do you have enough sanitizer? Do you have enough masks? Do you have enough booties? Go check. I'll go get you what you need, right? And then with the temperature, when we get the thermometer, I went out with one of our team members who likes doing this. She's a bit of a mothering figure, and she takes the temperatures. And I went out with her the first morning, and I said, "Okay, I want my temperature to be first, buddy. I'm first in line, right?" So modeling the behavior and repeating it, because the thing that I knew was that the tactics would change. So we're all about masks now. It might be something else in a month from now. But I wanted them to understand that being really good at good COVID practices are a new thing for us, and they're not going away for a long time. We want to be leading edge. That was what they needed to internalize.
Well, so just to sum it up, like repetition, leading by example, just basically applying an approach of basically consistency and education, and then connecting it with the safety, not necessarily of only you, but others around you, your family, your extended contact points. And I think you said something, I don't know if you realize it, but I think there's another thing that I'm realizing here is that who basically administers the temperature taking, or who is in that role of educating, is also important, because what did you say? You said so-and-so who basically likes to do this and is sort of a mother figure.
Yeah.
So
She's the natural. If you know our team, you know, okay, she's the right one to take the temperature in our business, and she makes it kind of fun.
So
Well, good.
for those who are listening out there, look and see if you have somebody in your team that may be in that role in terms of closeness, you know, because then asking somebody to change their behavior pattern rather than resistance, they may be a little bit more likely to hear.
Exactly.
And not necessarily conform, but adapt to those measures. I mean, this is a major reality that every business out there is going to either face or is facing right now. So
yeah,
thank you for letting me go there, Mike, with you, because I think it's a great example of success story.
Yeah, and we're going to need to learn into this and live into it for a long, long time.
Now let's because I promised Bill we would talk about this.
You promised me?
I promised you. I promised
Okay.
you. Yeah, I promised you we'd talk about this. No, it's all okay.
Yeah.
The what are you seeing that is like changing behavior patterns, like areas of focus? Like we talked a little bit about, you know, what are people doing differently that in terms of their demands and requirements because of what maybe we're going through, that you're seeing that is affecting maybe what people are designing, how they're going about it? What are some maybe rooms that are being focused on differently now than they were before? Areas that maybe were an afterthought, I just need something there, that are now maybe, no, I need something there that does X.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what they're looking for, and I'll tell you how they're acting differently.
Okay.
The thing that has been a really strong area of customer interest and demand, is you might expect, is the office.
The home office.
A lot of people are working from home now. Yeah. So getting a home office that's functional and beautiful, has a good workstation and has good lighting and has a good way for them to store their technology and store their devices, really important. So again, a lot of people want to talk to us about home offices.
Wait to sell it, by the way, using the backdrop that you're using. I just want to acknowledge that.
Thank you. The other two areas, and these probably wouldn't surprise you, media centers, very popular. Sure. As you imagine, all the time that people are spending watching Netflix and gaming now, they're at home in front of a screen more than they've ever been. Yeah. And then pantries. The first time I heard pantries, I said, wait, what? I didn't expect that. But then I thought about all of the time that people have now to do things at home that they didn't used to have. People are maybe cooking more, spending more time in their kitchen.
Well, there are more people at the grocery stores now buying.
You know, it's interesting. Somebody was sharing with me something, and you're saying this, and it's kind of fascinating because not only is it, you know, you know how it is. You're researching, you're looking at what people's behavior patterns are. What are they doing? They usually will adapt what they have to meet new needs, and then the industries will follow suit and find maybe a more structured way of delivering on that need. But somebody was telling me about people during the Depression, basically, like growing fruit trees, having fruit trees in their yard, and basically always, if something was in season, they would buy it, and then they would pickle it, or they would preserve it, or they would turn it into jam, or they would put in a thing. And this particular person who was talking said to me that, you know, she remembered going to her grandmother and the closet, and even though it was after the Depression, her grandmother was still doing this behavior pattern that she picked up during the Depression, and she would open the pantry. And the loquat jams were on this side, always labeled, and the pickles were on this side, and the things were on this side. Well, but what you're talking about here, Mike, is maybe not driven by that sort of dire need to get stuff because Amazon will still deliver.
Yes.
But the fact that people are at their homes and they're interacting with their kitchen differently, they may be now looking for, well, where do the mason jars go? Like, do I have a specialized area for that? Is it a little bit cooler? Is it a little bit drier? You know, remember the old closets that had the mesh so the air ventilation would go through, right? And basically, or they're curing something or whatever it is. They're baking. Used to be that people would put their pie. You know, how many cartoon strips have you seen where the pie basically sits on the window for airing, and somebody basically comes by and grabs it and eats it, right? I mean, their behavior patterns at home will change. And I'll share a personal one. Yesterday, we did we're finishing a couple of homes. One of them is a little further along. We got the people in their home, thank God. The other one's a little bit delayed. But I got a text message yesterday night out of the blue from my client, who actually sent me a picture of her daughter prepping something over a part of where we put a little counter area and like the appliance garage. Okay. And she basically was thanking me for her dream kitchen because she is now basically making memories with her daughter in the kitchen.
Oh, that's great.
Completely unsolicited, I haven't seen her for a couple of days. But I thought, how lovely to take the time to even share that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that the fact that this was not just a kitchen that had utility, but it actually has become a home for her and her daughter to build memories. So that's your pantry. I mean, I think, yeah, it's maybe we call it pantry and we elevate its right, pantry right on the top there. But yeah, I mean, so home offices,
yes,
pantries,
and media centers.
So what are some of the things that you're seeing in like the offices or media centers? Sorry, Bill, that people are asking for or you're suggesting for people?
So with the home offices, it's very much around where are the devices going to be? Where am I going to be putting my laptop or my desktop? How's they're going to connect with the chair? Where am I going to put my tablet? How am I going to charge my devices? Device management, device situation, and also home offices that can support maybe a few people, because there might be some students that are now homeschooled or two spouses working in the same home office. So it's not just a home office for one person anymore either.
Right.
And with the media centers, it's about having an organ. Of course, it has to be beautiful because it might be the focal point of the living room, which is often the most important room in the home.
Right.
So that's not new. It has to look beautiful, but having a really good way to organize all the devices. So you might need to have your cable company console and your gaming console and your set-top device for Apple TV, but having a way to organize all of the controllers and all the devices and all the little appliances that go with a media center in a way that they're functional, but also not visually distracting. That's always a big thing that we have to take care of.
So have you expanded? I know you have it in terms of your closets, like for master closets and stuff like that. Have you expanded the compartmentalization for those areas to now accommodate more systemized?
They're absolutely beautiful, and they're versionable, because all of these devices and all of these little set-top pieces are all different sizes. So we've got some systems that are that can be adjusted to have a really nice and finished look, but also absolutely accommodate all of the little parts that any given media center is going to have.
And when you say like charging stations and stuff like that, are you talking also like, and maybe this is something that you guys are offering, or maybe you're proposing as an option, but like the pop-up wireless stations that basically eliminate so much wiring, or is it just pretty much the wall systems? Are you actually incorporating some of the stuff into the desks and so forth?
We are. Yeah. We have some partner providers that have some really good options for pop-up grommets, for wireless charging, all the things that people expect these days.
Yeah, I've been putting those in everything from kitchen counter areas to what have you, office desk areas. Because it is that, I don't want to have 15 wires basically. When everything is wireless, I just put that. I just need enough of them for the whole family to be able to use. Yeah. That's really great. Actually, Bill, we should probably make a mental note to arrange an ASID Orange County visit and go over those specific areas. Maybe.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun to have
when we come back.
Have a little 10-minute virtual Zoom meeting with you or Karen.
Yeah, or maybe we can do it. Maybe we can do it in the meantime, because again, that would be an appropriate, as we go into phase 2 and a phase 3. That would be an appropriate shift for designers to know that this is an area.
Because so many designers work from home, and now they can have a perfect home office with California Closets.
Exactly. Well, or propose it to clients. I mean, if you can't go in there and basically maybe do a large home installation now, but a home office has immediate return on investment for people that are working at home. I'll tell you something, Mike. I heard something from the hotel industry that you might find fascinating. They have it's like about 85% lack of occupancy right now, 90% lack of occupancy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And the industry is seriously in jeopardy, which is amazing from where they were and how fast that happened, right? I interviewed somebody that basically said, they're a management company out of Arizona, that they were basically renting out their rooms, and I think it was a Marriott maybe, by the hour. So because people, to your point, are working at home. They don't have areas that are really appropriate for that, because they're used to basically working on their tablet on the sofa or on the desk. But now you got stuff that you're spreading out, all this stuff. If you haven't really,
the kids are home too, remember?
Right, the kids are home. There's no
Maybe
separation.
they're on the sofa.
Well, they're on the sofa, right? Exactly. And you're holding a meeting with your production team and juniors basically wanting attention. So I mean, it's going to be interesting how that protocol happens, how that etiquette basically gets incorporated into our corporate lives. But they don't have that. So they're basically, the smart and the hotel industry pivoted. They're basically offering, and this lady was telling me that, like, a husband would rent that room for a few hours, then they would basically re-sanitize it, and then the wife the next morning would come and basically rent the room, because it was the two couples that both work and they were both in the house. So to your point about, it's not just a home office, it's a home office that maybe now needs to accommodate two people. And how do you do that regardless of the square footage that you have? Because you have all the square footage in the world, it's not, you can accommodate it. But when you start getting tight on square footage, you need the benefit and professional services of a designer, somebody who's familiar with what the capabilities are, just such as your people, for example, your design team, to do that. So that I think we need to maybe make as a part 2 to this, maybe, Mike. Maybe we can talk offline and figure out how ASID maybe can bring that, because I think that's a valuable,
we'd love that,
area for designers to try to develop that business right now. And then lastly, as we close, just think, what is this all about?
Fantastic.
What is Martha doing in California Closet? I mean, I saw this on your website.
That's Martha in the California Closet. I can't see the.
Yeah,
there it is.
Is this something new? I don't remember seeing this.
This is our partner, Martha Stewart. We are partnering with Martha on something called the Everyday System, which is all new. It's a modular system, versionable, semi-custom, and it's something that attaches onto a wall. It's so simple that we also sell it as a DIY kit.
Is that what is behind her in the photo, basically,
yes,
Mike? Okay.
That is the Everyday System home office. And it's characterized by metal uprights in 3 different colors. The wood finishes, there's 3 different wood finishes, and the hardware finishes, there's 3 different finishes. So it's for pantry, office, and for, of course, closet. And it's a really affordable and approachable way to get into a California closet, do it yourself, or have us install it. And we love working with Martha, and it's a real nod, I think, to maybe younger people in particular who are able to make a space custom and nice, but they might not be staying there a whole long time, or they might not have a very big budget yet.
Well, a lot of people basically also, like the younger generation, they're not maybe necessarily looking at home ownership right now. And they basically would rather rent and not be tied down with all those expenses. I don't want a car. I'm going to Uber. It's a different lifestyle. I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, yes, home office, limited space, square footage, organized. I have a little bit more utility. Also thinking of kids' rooms, study areas. I got to tell you, I said you were innovative. You guys were innovative. And this is brilliant. And down to the DIY area, by the way.
Can this be deinstalled and moved where the next place they go to, right?
Yes, absolutely.
This is a nationwide program. It's not just for California.
Yeah, it's not just California. It's for the whole company. We have deinstalled the system twice. Once because we wanted to see if we could, and once because we put it in the wrong place, because we make mistakes too. And the installation is really easy, and it's a very well-made system. We installed it, we deinstalled it, we reinstalled it, and there wasn't a single scratch on it. It looked fantastic, even after being moved.
So is it, I can't see in the picture, Mike, is it basically metal and wood finishes?
Yes, yeah, it's metal uprights and wood shelves and horizontal elements and wood drawer faces.
And just the white only?
3 colors.
Oh, great.
Yeah, yeah.
No, that's amazing. I mean, that's actually pretty cool. You know, I bet you down the road, you might actually have some people that walk in and may have that in the property they purchased.
Yeah.
And they may say, well, I don't want those 3 colors. I want a custom package on my wood finishes on the drawers.
That's great.
I mean,
Congratulations on
yeah,
that.
no, that is very smart. How long has that program been around, Mike?
Since February, it's very new.
Yeah.
Perfect timing.
And then too, with all this going on.
Perfect timing. He's laughing. He knows exactly why. It's perfect timing. This is very, very forward thinking and you know, positioning yourselves with multiple ways to service a client, regardless of their need, regardless of their budget. That's impressive, my friend. I'm very happy that you shared that with us. Yeah, I saw Martha on your website. I'm like, what's Martha doing in California Closet? It makes perfect sense.
There she is.
Yes. Yeah.
Martha is always there doing that kind of stuff.
She's an organizer. She's
Yeah,
an organizer, and she's about making beautiful things affordable, right? And she's got such a huge audience of younger people now, so it made sense in every way to work with her.
Well, but it's also I think a testament to you guys, because you know, to have somebody with that much name recognition, and she's all about that kind of management of her brand and name recognition, to team up with you guys. It makes perfect sense, but it also speaks to the value that you guys have and the worth that you guys have and the reputation. So congratulations, that's wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Gentlemen, this has been a pleasure. I've enjoyed being on your show very much.
We'll get together and do another one with ASID, and you can have Karen show us about home offices.
Yeah, we might do that as a live. I think I like that idea. I think, you know, again, people are gonna hear this, but the sooner the better. Mike, I think, because I really believe that from a professional capacity, whether it's commercial, residential, whatever, we're all looking for ways that basically we can continue to service our clients within their comfort levels. And so this could be an interesting way to arm those designers with some practical, timely things that would work right now. So thank you for taking the time to be with us, Mike. Always a pleasure to spend time with you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you both. I enjoyed it, gentlemen. Thank you so much.
See you later.
Have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.